Well, Editor Chris is going to have fun with this one, but that's his problem. We're over here in the creative world. And over here you can see the lighthouse that I did. And then we'll take a look around. So that was the greenhouse that I did for the solar punk theme. This was... which one was this one? Can't remember which one that one was. I think that was like the... like a test for the hardcore world. I think all of these were tests for the hardcore world except for this one. This one I believe was going to be like a cafe. And then this one I believe is our starter house. No, this one was the one that was going to be a cafe. I don't know what that one was going to be. And then here's the monolith from the beach one. Yeah, that was actually a really good world. I'm kind of upset that the whole thing happened with the corrupted chunks and all that. But anyways, here we are in the creative, like where I just test out builds and stuff, and we're gonna build a blacksmith hut, and I want to go over with you guys how I go about doing this. So we're gonna get out some wool, and basically I start by marking out like an area. So if I want a 7 by whatever, I'll just go in here and I'll do 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then we'll say I want a 9. So we'll go 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. And then I'll look at that, see how I want it, and then I'll complete everything back up. So we'll go in here and we'll complete that all up. And then we'll go here and we'll complete the side of it. So that's how most of my houses start off. I either do like a 7 by 9 or something like that, because I like to keep my houses, especially for villagers, quite small. And then I'll go in and I'll add, like, for this one, I want a forge, because this is going to be a blacksmith. So I'll come in here, I'll grab like a different color, like I'll use, we'll say yellow and purple. And I'll just come here and I'll go 1 2 3 4 6. Then we'll go 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, and then 1 2 3 4. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now granted, this isn't the actual dimensions, this is just kind of what I wanted to show you guys. So that's how I start off my builds. And then I'll go in and I'll take like another square and I'll count in, we'll say, we'll go here, we'll go 1 2 3 4 5. So I know that's the center. And then I'll come out, we'll go, say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then we'll, obviously we'll go back and then we'll connect that in. Every other one is magenta, and then that's just kind of how I started off. There's a 3 wide opening here, but that leaves a 4 opening there, so I'll come in and I'll add like 1 more here. So that leaves a 4 opening there, but it kind of cuts that one off. So then I'll come in, and if I have to, just to get it to where it's all right, I'll go out by 1 2 3 4, and that'll give me 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, And then we'll go 11. And then I'll just connect all that up. So we'll go like this. And then there you go. You got a bigger house, floor plan. And then because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the open here, I'll come over here and I'll go 3 over. And then like that. And that gives me a much wider floor plan, gives me more to work with, and so on. But I'm going to go ahead and get the floor plan worked out for this blacksmith, and then we'll come back. This isn't going to be it. This is just a test. But yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll come back. Alright, so this is what we got so far. We've got a outline of the house. Now, this is going to be a 2-story house here. It's going to have some blacksmith working stuff here. This is going to be a deck. Over here is going to be the forge. And the forge is going to be the hull of a ship that has been basically cut off at the end so they could put a chimney on. And then over here it's just going to be open so that they have way in and out. So let's go ahead and clear our inventory and see what kind of blocks we need. I want to continue using some of this tuff. So we're going to grab the tuff. And we're going to go through and we're going to change all of this out to tuff and get a floor in. And for the floor, let's go ahead and use some stripped spruce, stripped oak, and we will use, we're not going to use the birch. We'll use stripped spruce, stripped oak, and stripped dark oak. Alright, so when I turn around, we'll be back. And we're done! So, what I went ahead and did is we did the flooring is that spruce, dark oak, and oak. Kind of a weird little pattern, but I'm going with it because I like it. We just textured all of the tuff that we put in, and then I went ahead and put in some pillars. Now, I wanted this area to look kind of like the wood is old and dried up, like they're not really taking care of it too much, because they are going to be metal workers and not carpenters. So, went with the acacia because it has that kind of like dead bark look to it. I was looking at some other ones. I was looking at the polished basalt and the basalt. That one looks more charred. That looks like it's slightly damaged. Maybe like a dead wood that's been damaged, because they do share a very similar tone. But these two share a very similar texture. So I ended up going with the pale oak. And I just decided not to use the basalt because the basalt looks more like a petrified tree than anything else. Well, the smooth polished basalt. So went in, put some pillars in, added a bay window back here, added in where some windows will be going, and even did a little copper fence across the bottom just to have like a somewhat of a gate when you walk up onto this porch area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this area out. And since this is going to be the work area, I'm going to be putting in some coarse dirt, some packed mud, and some brown mushroom. So let me go ahead and clear that out, and we'll come back and then we'll talk about what's going to go right here in this little outline. Alright, so we got the packed mud in, and I went ahead and did something a little different. Right here, I decided that I wanted to have like some scratch marks and stuff. So I went ahead and used some blast furnace. Now, I might just go ahead and do it like this. That way it looks like the scrapes are going out from the fire. Because, spoiler alert, we're going to have fire here. And what we're going to do, because I personally think it would look cool, is we're going to do soul fire. Yeah, that'll work. As long as the villagers don't step in it, it'll work. Now, I don't know how I'm going to keep them going to their job, but basically the way that we're going to do this is we're going to do somewhat of a Minecraft ship. But we're going to go here, here, and here, here. And then here are going to be open. So basically, we'll go up by 3, because I think a Minecraft ship goes up by 3. Or does it go up by 2? I don't know. I'll have to look at a ship. But basically, I'm going to do something kind of like that, and then have it go up, over, boom, 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 and boom, and boom. And then same thing over here. And we'll just do this. And then we're going to work in those new shelving blocks, because those new shelving blocks are pretty cool. And we're going to go like this, and then we'll go like that. And then we'll take the slab, and we'll start here. Then a full block. And another full block. And then we'll do a, well no, we'll do a third full block. And then we'll go in, we'll add some texture, like I'll change some of these out for the strip spruce logs. I will add some definition in here, like maybe this one isn't a full block, that one's not a full block, and that one's not a full block, and then some of them will be like trapdoors, like go up here and we'll do trapdoor right there, trapdoor there, trapdoor there, trapdoor there. Because if this was a shipwreck that they converted into a kind of like a work area, I don't imagine that it would be all that what's the word that I'm looking for? All that pristine when they pulled it out. And then we'll come here and we'll do I'm thinking deep slate, because I never really build, I mean I build my roofs out of deep slate all the time. Oh my goodness. So I build my roofs out of deep slate all the time, but I never really build my chimneys out of deep slate. So I'm thinking either deep slate or maybe some blackstone would be pretty cool. Because while I have this just kind of like this, I'm not planning on keeping it that way. But what I do want to do here is use some walls. And let's see, we'll use cobblestone for now. Because the cobblestone walls, the way they connect, is a little bit nicer than using fences and stuff. So I'm thinking using cobblestone walls there, and then I can just go in and do the texturing like this. Whoa. So I'm thinking something like that. And possibly we can just make that a full block. And we can go in from the bottom and we can make this one a half slab, which it already is. That one can be a half slab, and then this one can be a trapdoor. But to make it fun, let's go ahead and do the trapdoors on top. Some half slabs on top. And then you can do that strip spruce in some spots where it looks like it's a little more worn. And then in here we could go and do like strip spruce there. Maybe they put in some logs because the ship was a little more damaged than they expected. Then we can go in and we can connect these new copper chains in some spots. So we can go lantern. Ooh. Lantern, and then lantern. And then after a while those will patina. And we can have something like that in here. And it keeps it nice and bright. We got the sunlight coming in from here, but we can change this over to a slab right here. Or no, not even a slab. We can do a trapdoor. As we could go trapdoor, 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 trapdoor. Then we can go in with fence gates. Oh wait, that's not gonna work. I'd have to do it like this. And then boom, 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 and then like that, and like that, like that, that, and that. So it gives it a little bit of definition without actually having anything. But let's do it this way, like this and like that. So yeah, it gives it a little bit of definition without actually having it really connecting too much in one direction or the other. So I'm going to go ahead, clean this up a little bit, get all this taken care of, get a path from here to the house kind of established, and then we'll come back, we'll talk about the chimney because I should have that done by then, and we'll have some walls up on either side. Now, for this, I'm thinking maybe they take the ship hull and just kind of, you know, get rid of that. Maybe they've taken the ship hull and just kind of connected it like that. Or we could do some sort of bracket that's connecting it to the house using this and this, like that and like that, like that and like that. And then that makes it look like it's connected fairly well. The only thing I would do is change this to that, and then grab that, put that in like that, put that in like that, put one there, and put one here. And it's a little bit of a weird arch, but I think that works actually. Alright, so let me get this kind of sorted out how I want it in here, and then we're gonna come back and we will talk about the chimney, talk about the path and everything, and then we will work on getting the walls in, because the walls I want to do out of stone, cracked stone and mossy stone, because where there's fire there's going to be some water close by. So I'm thinking maybe right through here, they have a little water trough set up. And that has gone onto the stone here and created some mossy spots. So it'd be something like this. And then we take the cracked stone and we go in between that. And there you go. So we'll do something like that. Get some water in here, maybe have some moss growing in the plant bushes right here. And that's creating moss on that side. But yeah, let me get all that done. We'll come back. Alright, so I went ahead and did the walls for the house, for the blacksmith house, and I went and changed the oak, well, change the azalea, change the acacia out for some oak, because I feel like the brown of the oak non-stripped kind of matches with the brown of the spruce. And then I went in and added some of the spruce stairs, slabs, and trapdoors, because I feel like if they're gonna sit there and take the time to convert part of the ship into their blacksmith work area, they're gonna do the same with converting some of the materials over into a house. So I felt like that just made a little more sense than having the acacia there. I don't know what I want to do with the pale oak, if I want to keep that or not, but we can come back to that. I do want to get working on this house, and I did keep this out intentionally just in case we figure out what we're doing. But I'm thinking for the upstairs, let's remove some of the inventory around real quick. I'm thinking for the upstairs, we could go with a white for it, and it would look very much like a Tudor style if we did that, which my brain obviously wants to go with that because I do love the Tudor style. But I'm thinking we could probably go with some sandstone and possibly get a nice little like yellowish tone to the build. So, you know, we have something like this. And of course I hit Q instead of, there we go. But something, you know, somewhat like this. Let's go back and do that. Just something like that. And we can mix in the texture, like we put that here, put it up here and up here, and then bring things over. To be something like that. And I like the way that looks because it does add a little bit more texture. And then we can go in and we can take some of this, let's do that, and we'll do that. We could even take in some of the birch and just add in some birch planks here and there. And not only would that, you know, it complements the sand, but it also would break up that texture a little bit. And it would add some much needed color, because while I do like sand, it is a very one shaded block, and I think that we can go ahead and do some of these birch pieces in there. Like throw that in, throw it in there. And that just makes it look like it's a little worn down. Maybe that's like the wood that's underneath of like a spackle or something that they're using, or a shellac or something that they're using for the exterior of the house. And when it pulled off of the house, when the shellac pulled off of the house, it kind of pulled some of that older wood, like the older oak and the older spruce with it, and it left this nice clean wood right there. So I want to go ahead, I want to do that around here on the different roofs. I'm going to probably raise this up by one, mainly just because of the fact that this all now has to become floor. Like all of this has to become floor. So I'm going to do that there, and we'll probably just do that, and we can do that. And the way I do my texturing is probably a little redundant, because I go in and I put all these walls in with the plainest plainest texture that I have, so that I can come back and put some texture in afterwards. So like I'll fill that in, fill all that in, and then I'll go through and I'll do the rest of them, and then I'll start breaking in windows, breaking in all the different things that I need after I've already gotten everything in. So let me go ahead and get started on that. You know, we could do a balcony here, just have like a little, oh, we have to do like that, but we can have like a little balcony here. I know that it looks really weird, but just roll with me for a second. You could have like a little balcony here, and with it having these openings, it does let some of the light creep through. And if I can get the ashless campfire, that would help even more with that. I don't know. Let me figure this one out, and then we'll come back and we will kind of go over what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Now, I do think for just the sake of consistency, I think we should do this on the bottom first. But I don't know. Let me kind of figure that out, see what I want to do. If I want to come in and add that oak in, I can always do that. That just means that we got a lot more oak to grab when we get back into the survival world. Alright, so I got an idea of what I want, and I wanted to just kind of show you guys what I came up with, because I think that this is going to work well for what we're doing. Now, I did add some texture on the inside walls. I added some, you know, I have different windows all kind of planned out. These might not be all the windows, because honestly it's a lot. And then right here we had 2 exposed oak areas. So what I did was I put in some shelves, and I figured we could go in with the copper lanterns, and we could just, you know, like throw a lantern down, maybe have a little bit of a desk situation going on. We could sit there, we could take, where is it? I'm not seeing it. Let's just put it in stair. And we could probably go with something either like the smooth sandstone. That would make a really good desk, the smooth red sandstone. But I think I want to go with something elegant. So I'm going to go with a little bit of a mangrove desk. So we can have like a desk here. So, you know, you got that there, you got that, and then boom, there's your desk. And then we could have some books, maybe, you know, make one of these like a, change these out, or no, we'll keep that one the same, but we'll change these out, and we'll go functional, where is it, there we go, I know it's in, so we can go chiseled bookshelf, chiseled bookshelf, chiseled bookshelf, and then we can go in here and we can find a book. Where's a book? Ingredients. You know, I've been playing Minecraft for a long time, and I've been doing creative stuff for equally a long time. You know, because a lot of my builds and stuff are planned out in creative mode. but I can never get the creative menu down. And then we could have a book right here. So we could do, for now, we'll just do item frame, tools and utilities, functional blocks. There we go, item frame. We'll just throw an item frame down, throw a book in it. So we could have like a book there, we could have, you know, maybe some crumpled up paper here, which whenever I'm doing crumpled up paper, I use bone meal because that's like what it looks like. And then, you know, maybe that's their ledger for all their work and stuff, and then have this like sectioned off to an extent, like probably right here, because I think I wouldn't hit my head. Yeah, you won't hit your head on that one. So section that off like right about here to maybe here. So the door just, it kind of comes out like this. And then you could have their beds in right there. And then you can still get down and up, well, up and down with no problem, but I think I would do that. Yeah. It just makes it a little bit easier for the villagers. But I think that that would actually do really, I think that's actually really nice texture-wise. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to decorate this, and then before I put a roof on, I'll show you to you guys, that way you guys can see it. Then we'll get the roof on, and we'll get some decorating done down here as well. And then we'll get all the roofs on. And I still haven't figured out about the porch yet. I might just leave it like this and just put like a balcony out here. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll get some oak, and we'll just come up like this. We will come off of this one and off of this one. We'll do that. Maybe. I don't know. Looking at it, I don't really like it. So, alright, so I went ahead and did a little bit of work around here. Now, these are the villagers' workstations, and they will be the workstations that they use more than likely. But, got the blast furnace right here. What I might do, actually, is let's do this, and then let's do that. That way you can actually see it. So that's the villagers' blast furnace, and then if we come over here, up in here we can see that I've got some ores that are just kind of dotted around. Got two different sets of iron, well, armor, and I wanted to go ahead and show the arms on these. Well, no, they wouldn't have the arms showing because it would be easier to put the armor on it without the arms. So got some lanterns in here, went with the copper lanterns. Then if we come up here, we've still got the same thing that we had before. Put in some little, like, I guess dresser areas or wardrobe areas for the villagers. We've got a book here. Now I do want to do what I was talking about with the paper, and I wanted to come in here and show you guys this. So I do use the armor poser mod because I feel like it just works a lot better. So we can do that, and then we can do this. But then we have to go in here and put gravity off and click on this, and we can bring it up. We can rotate it. Hold on. Cancel. Did it go through the floor? No, it didn't go through the floor. Is it still there? Yeah, it is. Okay. So let's bring it up like this. We'll bring it over. Bring that over. Bring that like that. And then we'll make it to where it's there we go. I feel like that's gonna look the best. Yeah. So I got some balled up paper right there. And another thing we can do is we can take a where are the flower pots? Well, we could even do a composter. We could take a composter, put that guy there. do this, that, do swap arms with head, scale it down, visible, gravity off. Lessen the rotation. And there we go. Now we do have to bring it down some. And the way I do it is once I see that bottom pixel go under the floor, I just kind of bring it up a little bit from there. And I do want to bring it back some and then lock. Done. So that way it looks like a little waistband. And maybe they just got mad because something wasn't right on the books, so they threw it there. Then another thing that we can do, and this one doesn't require any mods or any data packs or anything like that. We just go in, we go, where is the, I'm kind of determined to find it now because this is kind of irritating. There it is, flower pot. Let me just get a little trap door. And then boom. Now I don't really care for it there just because it doesn't look right to me, but we can bring it over here. That way it's getting some sunlight. And there you go, a little flower pot with a orchid in there. And I think that is going to do it for the texturing, well, just kind of decorating everything. I do want to go in and add some texture, so like maybe add some glow lichen in a few places, you know, like make it to where that looks like a little wet more so, and then this will just help at night. And we can have some on the there, and then we can go back in the nature stuff. And the best thing to use would probably be either the, for this would probably either be the spruce leaves I'd say either the spruce or the birch. Let's see the darkness of the two of them. I'm gonna say the birch, because they look like they're a little bit more dead. Just add in a little bit of foliage around. They're not really taking care of the hedges and stuff, so they're just a little overgrown. But then we can go in with the leaf litter. I always keep forgetting that leaf litter is like a thing now. And we can just add in like these little details of like, maybe they didn't get all the leaves in this one area. There we go. And then like right here, maybe there's a, you can use that as like a little bit of mud, like dirt that's just kind of poking through. There we go. And it's not much, but it adds just a little bit of something, a little bit of visual interest, and it also kind of helps smooth out the corners a little bit. Just got to make sure you place it right. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to add like this, a couple little things here and there. Maybe go in with some wildflowers and just add in like one or two here and there. Nothing really crazy. And it's just like the little things like that that I like to do, that I feel like it adds a lot to the build when you do that. And something that I want to do out here is I want to bring an oak fence out right here, drop a chain down, drop a lantern. That way, just at night, they have a little bit of lighting out here. And then I think for the sign, if I go... Okay, so that's how that's going to connect. So that wouldn't work. I was going to say I could always just put in here some sort of, like, I can do some letters and do like Smiths or something like that for whatever the blacksmith's name are. But I was hoping to do it from the back and have two swords kind of crossing, but I don't know. Let me get the roof on and then we'll talk about the roof, and then it'll be time to go ahead and call this episode. This will probably be something that I do in the future. A little bit more, because I do want to talk to you guys about my build process and possibly get some feedback from you guys, because any feedback you have will be greatly appreciated. So let me go ahead and get some of this stuff in, get the roof on, and then we will come back and wrap things up. Alright, so went ahead and added in the roof to the house, and we're going to go ahead and take a little fly around and do that. And want to go over some of my thoughts about it with you. So went ahead and did a stone roof, and the reason why I did that instead of doing a deep slate roof like I did over here is because we use that deep slate over here on the actual chimney, and I also wanted to vary it up a little bit. And what I'm thinking about doing is actually just swapping this out for the, let's see, do that, then we can do this, and we can go that, well, that can go there, then this, that, and this. And the reason why I did that is because just to make sure that it matches up here. So let's go ahead and grab one of these, pop this out, put that as a stone block, we'll grab that, and pop that out and make that cobble. So went ahead and put in the roof, and I went with the stone and the dark oak. One, because I think it looks really nice with the dark oak. Only thing that I think I should do is actually take this and just pop out these last two, and just kind of, that way it looks like it's got a nice little band around it, and it kind of rounds off the top a little bit. But went ahead and put that stone roof, and I just kind of mixed in a little bit of moss carpet just to kind of see what I thought. But I think I'm going to leave the moss out, because I do want to do a moss roof in the future for one of these houses. So let's just kind of get the moss out of there for now. But put some slabs on there just to give it a little more varied texture as far as height. And then we go inside and we will replace this. Let's go right here. Boom. And then we come up here and you can see that I did pale oak for the roof trim. And I did the pale oak because that's the closest that we have to white right now, since we don't have any quartz. If I had quartz, I would have used quartz. Actually, I might have some quartz. So when we build this on the world, I might actually just use some quartz. But went ahead, put in some lighting. Now, I don't have free cam, but if we go into spectator mode, you can see there's no real light up here, and we'll change that in the world because just to keep monsters from spawning, I'll just put some light right here, here, and here. Oops, there we go. And then in here, you know, we got the bedrooms, got the same kind of trim. Oops. And then if we go out here, I want to show you guys the way that I designed this roof. So I did this roof in somewhat of a T shape. As you can see, I've got one side of it heading out right here. The other side of it is heading out right here. And then I put these in at the bottom. And I did that for this reason, because I can take the chains and kind of hang them off. And I can do that at different lengths too. Or I can have one, like, we'll do a chain hanging down a bit here, but the actual lantern will be, let's see, will actually be right here. And then what we'll do is we'll just take this, knock that out, do that, and then just do that. That way it looks like it's, you know, done broken off and it's fallen down. But yeah, I think that will actually look really good for the blacksmith house. Now, my thought process is I'm probably just going to build this on the server, well, on the world, and just, you know, have it already done. So what I'll do is this is going to be the video talking about the build process, and then the build will just appear on the video that you guys will have watched the day before. This is me talking from the future, but figured, well, from the past. I figured doing that, adding this build, and then going through the build process with you guys is a little better if I do it in this kind of style, where we can just kind of fly around, we can look at things, and I can explain to you why I'm doing the things that I'm doing as I'm doing it. So these builds will probably be like a complementary video to the build videos where I do big builds like this. Because even though it doesn't look that big, it is actually a fairly big build. And it's more that it's fairly intricate, more so than big. And I really like the way that this build has turned out. And I do plan on doing some more builds where we have larger things, because, like, I do like doing my big houses and stuff like that. But for these villager houses, I think this is the perfect size. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of a deep dive into the build and how I do these builds. And if you did enjoy this kind of content, please let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and like the video if you enjoyed it. But with that being said, my name is Buzzie107. I hope you guys had a good one, and I will see you guys in the next video. Alright guys, bye.